Hi, welcome to Drinkosaurus, where we take ancient cocktail recipes into the modern era. My name is Matt, I am your host, and let us begin the consumption of alcohol. On today's episode, we're going to build a cocktail off of a new spirit that I got, and we're going to be using the modified old-fashioned template again. Let's first review that template, and then we'll talk about all the different ingredients that we're using. In previous episodes, we talked about the modified old-fashioned template, which is 2 ounces of our spirit, a ½ ounce of modifier, which is the new piece that's added, and we also have a sweetening agent and a bitters. So we're going to use that template today to feature our spirit of Caledonia Spirits Barr Hill Tomcat Gin. This gin is distilled in Vermont, and the reason that it's not clear is it's because it's aged in oak barrels, which gives it a much more rich flavor than your typical gin. It also contains raw honey from bees that they have at their distillery, which is kind of a signature piece of Caledonia Spirits. So we're going to be using this as our base. It's going to be 2 ounces of it, and our other ingredients are going to complement its flavor profile. So we have our gin as our main spirit. Let's talk about our sweetening agent and our bitters. We're going to be using honey as our sweetener, which probably isn't a big surprise given the honey elements of our gin. Just to review, other sweetening agents you can use are simple syrup, which is just a mixture of sugar and water, or maple syrup, or really any other kind of sweet syrup. For bitters, we're going to be using Spruce and Birch bitters, which has 2 flavors going on. The Birch bitters gives us some more spicy flavor. It's hard to describe. It's similar to pink Necco wafers if you've ever had those. And the Spruce has a similar taste. It's piney and it's similar to the juniper berry, which is a component of gin. So I think this bitters will work really well. For our modifier, which is the new piece in the modified old-fashioned template, we're going to be using Benedictine, which is a high-proof liqueur that has a strong honey characteristic to it. It also has a little bit of spice, which will complement the birch flavor in our bitters. So everything will come together in a nice kind of harmonious mix, but all 3 of these will complement the star player, which is our gin. So now that we have all of our ingredients, let's get our supplies together, and we are ready to start mixing. First, we are going to start with our mixing glass. And the first component we're going to put in is our honey. And in our previous episode, we did a lot of work to get the honey incorporated. And oh no. Oh, yay, okay. Honey, first try. That didn't take a few minutes. We're going to add in our honey. I'm using about a bar spoon's worth. I might actually add a little bit more. It's a lot easier if you make this into a honey syrup, which is combining it with water. That'll just make it a little more thin. But I'm going to keep this honey pretty thick, just so I don't add too much water to the drink. To give that something to mix with, we're going to add in our Spruce and Birch bitters. I'm going to add about a full dropper's worth. Since these flavors are probably the least prominent, I do want to compensate and add a little bit more than I usually would, just so they're there and not just completely buried. So I'm going to take a moment to kind of mix those 2 together. We need a little bit more liquid for those to fully incorporate, so I'm going to add my Benedictine next, and we're only going to put a ½ ounce of that, just to add to the flavor of the gin and not try to take away too much from it. So I'll put that in, and we will continue to incorporate the honey. So now that these pieces are incorporated, we will add our gin as our last ingredient. Let's get the cork pop. Ooh. They put beeswax. It smells really good, and I like smelling the bottle a lot, because that's a normal thing to do. All right, we have 2 ounces of gin, almost said 2 inches of gin, which has happened before. Just 2 inches of gin. Perfect. Look at that rich golden color. Now we have all our ingredients together. I'm going to actually switch out my bar spoon for my big bar spoon. And we're going to add our ice and mix it for about 20 to 30 seconds. All right, let's give it a good mix. It's good. It's actually really good. Very, very good. The glass that we're going to use is a rocks glass. And we're gonna put in one big ice cube. Plop. And the ice cube will continue to chill the drink. And the reason that it's so big is the larger the volume to surface area ratio, the slower it will melt. And the slower our drink will be diluted. So we'll pour that in there. Very nice. And I present to you the honeybee. Yay, because it's honey and bees. So we're not actually done with the drink yet. Notice we haven't garnished it. Some drinks don't need a garnish, and I'm gonna actually give this another quick taste to see if I want to garnish or if the garnish will detract too much from the drink, because I'm pretty sure it's fine as is. Yeah, I think that's fine as is. If I were garnishing this drink, I would use lemon. There's no lemon ingredients in the drink, so I don't want it to detract from it too much. So let's taste it more. The main flavor that you get is the gin. So in the true nature of the old fashioned, the spirit is the featured piece. What's a little bit different is you get more honey coming through. You get a little bit of extra complexity from the bitters in the Benedictine, but all of those work really well. So it's hard to taste individual ingredients, and it's more of an enhancement to the gin. So if you compared this side by side with the gin, it would be a little bit sweeter, a little bit more flavors going on, but it would still be very similar, which is what your objective is when using the old-fashioned template. It smells really good too. It has like a very fresh honey sort of flavor to it. The reason that I like this drink is it was based off of the spirit itself, so it's really bringing out the unique characteristics of it. And mostly the old-fashioned is typically thought to be used with whiskey, but we made a variation on it using gin. Drinkosaurus is a production of LittleGiantMonsters. If you'd like to see more projects that we're working on, make sure to check us out at different social media platforms. We also have a Patreon, so please consider supporting us there. It'd be super appreciated. If you have any questions for me or have any ideas for future videos, have a spirit you don't know how to use, have questions about anything, leave them in the comments. I get extra excited about when comments are left. I'm not sure if that sentence was grammatically correct, but we're doing it. That's all for today's episode. Keep being creative, keep mixing some good drinks, and be responsible drinkers.